Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Please Put Them On Takamine-san, Season 1, Episode 11. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Show continues to subvert your expectations, because after the introduction to, what's his name, like OG or Seiya OG, whatever the case may be, we got introduced to that character last episode. So you're like, okay, maybe we'll spend a lot of time with that character this episode. He's literally not in this episode until the very end. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Because I guess I thought we'd spend a lot of time with him. At least get, kind of what we did with the Ellie situation, where it's like, right, she was introduced at the tail end of one episode, and the next episode was kind of dedicated to her, or at least like her and Koshi's relationship. I thought we were going to get something, not that exactly, but something of that ilk. And it's like, nah, home dude's not in the episode until like the tail end again. That's quite wild. But I mean, I guess to be fair, it's like it's the same thing for like Aries' partner. Like it's like you don't see her, and like you've only seen her in small doses, so we haven't gotten a proper full blown introduction to her. Like spent a lot of time with her. So I don't know. That just threw me off that he wasn't going like even in this episode until like the last like minute or two. But either way, obviously, we're actually picking up immediately where the last episode left. Oh, wait, I forgot. Yeah. I mean, the opening just because it's a continuation of the last episode. But yeah, he's only in the beginning and end. But yeah, it was kind of coming down to a vote between Seiya and Koshi on who was going to play the prince. And it's like overwhelming votes. It's like 26 or something votes for Seiya and only one vote for Koshi. Immediately you're like, well, I know who the one vote is. It's definitely Takane, because literally no one else in the class is like, who is he? Everyone's like, who is that guy? So no one knows him, so why would they vote for him anyway? But it turns out he at least gets relegated to like the prince's guard, so it has the benefits of he might not be playing the lead role, but he will be on stage continuously, and that way it's like anytime he needs to do his closet duties for Takane, like he can, and she tries to manipulate this situation to be like, well, it all worked out in the end because she's like, I put you in a position, because she's like, I didn't want to have to keep dealing with your gloomy phase. It's like better for you to be out front actually participating rather than being behind the scene and gloomy that you couldn't participate. But it's like, because he's like, yeah, like I did that because about Seiya being your closet. She's like, I wasn't serious about that. It was all just to kind of motivate you, because if I did not say that, you wouldn't have put your hat in the ring. So, and just kind of being like, oh, see, you're basically dancing to my tune. But then even Koshi is like, yeah, but I'm curious, like, who voted for me? She's like, oh, I guess it must be someone that kind of like has a niche thing, basically is into like your whole thing. And it's like, well, obviously it's you. But either way, they spend their time next, prepping for the play and stuff, and everyone's helping, everyone's doing their part. I felt so bad for Koshi, because multiple times throughout this episode, people like in the classroom were like, who is he? Like the fact is the president's touching him and talking to him. It must be because she felt like, because someone's so pathetic like him, how is he getting so close to the president? And I'm wondering, and she probably is oblivious to it, because she doesn't realize like how much of a large shadow she cast over Koshi. It's like you kind of draw unnecessary attention to him, but who knows? Maybe that's also what she wants him to like. The whole thing is also to put him more in the spotlight. It's like I want you to kind of step forward and kind of embrace things more, rather than just kind of doubting yourself and beating yourself up and just kind of like hiding out in the shadows. It's like so that but it could also just be a thing of she doesn't perceive that, but like he's catching a lot of flack from some of his classmates because of it, because it's like, oh, why is the president coming over talking to him specifically? And because she asked him to basically for like the background, it's like they're gonna do these two lamppost things for the stairs, but he ended up copying it exactly on the other side, and he kind of gets chastised. Now, initially I was like, oh, I wondered if she do that to like so he wouldn't get in trouble, but then she reveals like, yo, this is such an important thing, I want this to be flawless, how dare you screw this up? He's like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So rewinds time, someone comes looking for her help again, and it's like, oh crap, I'm back here like Koshi's trying to put my underwear back on, but once again, he doesn't because he got so nervous and was just like, oh my gosh, she's staying so calm. How can she stay so calm in this situation? Oh crap, I didn't put her underwear back on fully. So when that plank of wood falls down again, she rushes over, grabs it, and it's like, hey, I'm sorry about that, but your underwear. She's like, don't worry, I handled it. He's like, wait, when'd you do that? She's like, in the moment I grabbed that piece of wood, I immediately did my thing with like my butt and just certain muscles. And he's like, wow, that's impressive. She's like, yeah, next time, don't let that happen again. He's just like, yeah. So going from there seems to just be a pretty flawless thing. There's no talks about her having to undo anything. So everything seemed to be okay. We do see Koshi kind of there with her, kind of having drinks and taking a break with other people. Like I said, it seems like she's trying to make him a little more social too. Because something I thought was interesting is that Koshi notices, he's like, the fact is I got that, like, those people were chastising me for being around the president. He's like, actually, Takane's actually never spoken to me in front of other people before. He's like, I wonder what that was about. And that's why I'm thinking it does feed into that narrative if she wants people to take notice of him more, like, so he doesn't just fade into the background. I think like I said, I think that is for that reason as well. I mean, and maybe she is self-aware of, hey, if I like talk to you in front of other people, it would draw unnecessary attention. I don't know. Or it could just be like, after everything they've gone through in the series so far, she's feeling more comfortable about approaching him, because maybe she probably really planned out how she was going to approach him, and now it's like, I don't know. There's different layers to how you could probably pick that apart, of just like, why is it now that she's interacting with him in front of other people? Like, I don't think she has like any bad reasons for why she did it. I'm just curious like what her internal reasons might be of why now. I mean, because it's like she could like use this as an excuse to talk to him like in front of other people, whereas before, like use this as an opportunity to talk to him, interact with him at school, whereas like usually they're alone and away from people anytime they interact, anytime even at school in the series. So it is kind of interesting. Like I said, I think that's like once again her just trying to bring him to the forefront. But then they ended up staying pretty late, fixing it and finishing up everything. So basically, she asked Koshi to meet her on the rooftop, and she asked the key to be able to go there. And it's like, oh, a very beautiful time. And for her, it's like that kind of beautiful, like, swelling moment before like a performance or something like that. So she's like, oh yeah, you kind of got this energy that kind of surges like before a big performance, and she likes to embrace that feeling. And Koshi's like, oh, is that why she brought me up here, so I could feel that feeling too? She talks about how important this festival is, because she's like, this might be our last chance. And he's like, well, we could do it next year. She's like, yeah, but then we'll be prepping for college next year. And because of that, no one's going to have time to really dedicate for something big event for the festival, because people are going to be focusing on their studies and stuff like that. Sure, you can participate, have fun at the festival, but dedicating time and staying late to fix things up, like, that's not possible. So for her, I think that's also why she's putting so much pressure on this particular school festival, because like now this past, this school year has been the year her and Koshi have gotten closer. She says like, right, you've done such a great job as my closet. I wish I'd done this like last year at last school fest. But it's like, no, it's just like, now it's like, oh, I'm having so much fun, like being around you, and we're talking like we never talked before. And also, this is like my last opportunity to kind of get close to you in this capacity and do something like this to kind of bring you more out of your shell. But Koshi says like, but no, we could do it like the year after that. And she's like, what are you talking about? He's like, at university, there'll be even bigger ones where we can like spend even later together. And she's like, you pervert. He's like, no, I didn't mean it like that. But for him, it's like, he's like promising, it's like, right, I'm going to stay by your side, and I'm going to continue to be by your side. And obviously hearing those words mean a lot to her. And she kind of has this interesting moment where she talks about how initially she didn't really like the story of Cinderella, which I think is so interesting, because I never drew the parallels until now. I was like, like it's a more perverted version, sure, but there is some kind of like parallel you could draw to Cinderella. Granted, we're not talking about glass slipper here, but still, there is an interesting parallel that could be drawn, but her takeaway from why she did not like Cinderella initially is because she didn't like how Cinderella is such a passive character. And you're like, oh, there's parallels there because I think for Takane, she's been such a passive person when it came to Koshi. So it's the whole thing of like, I think that's also why she's kind of taken the opposite approach and she's been so aggressive with her approach, even if she has been passive in some capacities. But she has taken largely a very aggressive, albeit like roundabout way of kind of, because she says like this isn't like the story where like a fairy godmother is going to make things happen for you. And she's like, I get she has disgust with the story because of certain elements, because of that passiveness of the character, but there's also empathy where she's like, I get the notion of wanting to wait for something to happen, wait for your Prince Charming to kind of make a move. And she's like, I know it's not the easiest thing to like build up that courage and put aside your pride to kind of, not just wait for things to happen, to be a little more proactive, which she has been. And in this moment, she tries to be. I thought they were going to play this off way differently than they did because of what the title of this episode is. It's like, oh, I'll try a dry run or whatever. I thought what was going to happen is she's saying like, so I'm going to like, she looks like she's about to open up her heart to Koshi and tell him like how she really feels. And I thought the twist was going to be her being like, oh, I can't believe you actually thought I was being sincere. That was me putting on a performance, even though it wouldn't have anything necessarily do with Cinderella. But I thought maybe she'd remix it a little bit to be like, oh, we're doing a different version of Cinderella. Probably not, but I thought that's where that direction that was going to go. I wasn't expecting as she was about to pour out her heart, Koshi's like, because she sneezes and he's like, oh, well, for one, I thought she would have said like, hey, I'm actually going to rewind time because that kind of screwed the pooch and I'll pretend like none of that happened. But no, Koshi's like, oh my God, you're cold. Your hands are freezing. Oh my God, I can't believe you must have wanted to kind of leave. And she's just like, what? Yeah, like I can't believe you were so slow in the upkeep. He's like, I'm so sorry. It's like, Koshi, read the room a little. Once again, cliche, anime manga protagonist being completely and utterly oblivious. But obviously, it's like the day of the performance, and they're going to do kind of like a little trial run for first. And this is where the like dry run comes into place. It's meant to, but in the context of the episode, it's not really. But Koshi's kind of nervous, even though he only has like 2 lines. So she takes him out. It's like, right, let's go enjoy the festival a bit and calm down your nerves. He's like, oh my God, is she doing this for me? And she's like, this is such an important moment. You're not going to screw it up with your nerves. You have such an insignificant part in the play that it wouldn't throw things off to just be cut. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not going to have you screw this up for me. Once again, you never fully know whether there is some truth to that. Is that her just like putting on her like very like Ojo-sama like persona, or whether that is just the perspective of like I am covering up my true intentions of but I don't want you to know that, so I'm putting on my front. Or is there some level of there is truth to that because of her whole I want to be perfect in front of people? So either way, they go into like the haunted house thing, and it's like a spider curse thing, and obviously she's a little freaked out, and Koshi's like, oh, she must have brought me in here to want to relax. He's like, I appreciate it. But then he turns and looks and is like, oh my God, she's freaked out. He's like, right, she is scared of thunder. He's like, is she scared of this too? Seems like her biggest issue is like spiders, but I think probably scary, spooky stuff in general. Like just everything about this place like freaked her out. And he's like, are you okay? Like, we can leave if you want to. She's like, no, like, what are you even talking about? I'm not scared. Walks, immediately gets jump scared, did the quickest time undo we've seen so far in the show. I mean, she just, in 2 frames, and immediately undid everything. And Koshi's like, we can leave if you want. She's like, you're so crazy, Koshi. Like, don't you realize? Basically, I'm trying to make you feel better about yourself because in this moment, I seem a little helpless, and now you're going to have more confidence. You're going to feel better about yourself. Don't you see what I'm doing? He's like, wow. He's like, she's really coping right now, trying to put up this front. Like, oh, okay, sure. She's like, all right, let's go. And then as they're walking, because I thought she was not going to worry about it too much, because like, well, that jump scare is not going to get me this time. But as they're walking, a guy touches Koshi and she freaks out. She's like, Koshi, and then like, don't worry. And he's like, wait, and she undoes time again, and she touches. She's like, oh my god, are you okay? Or you cursed or whatever? Which I'm like, that's so sweet, because that's the most like outwardly concerned she's ever been, because she's able to usually keep up her front. Like once again, the mask slips every once in a while, but like this was such a blatant like mask slip that she was just like, oh my god, are you okay? He's like, no, I'm perfectly fine. This isn't real, Takane. And she's like, she takes a step back, like, couple beats. I did it again. Like, now you're even more confident. He's like, man, she really is leaning into this. But yeah, without her underwear or her bra on, and then like, oh, I thought it would have been an issue because like, well, there was someone in a suit crawling on like, I don't know if it was something fake or it might have been someone in a suit, but it could have just been like a prop thing. But it's like, well, she's not wearing any underwear. She grabs on the Koshi because she's freaking out. Spiders come falling out of the ceiling. She freaks out, runs away. Koshi's like, yo, don't do that. Like, this is bad. She gets tangled up in like a web, and it's just like, wow, she's in the most exposed position. He's trying to help her down. Other students come that way. He tries to like draw their attention away from it, but he kind of did a shitty job. But to be fair, his shitty job kind of made them kind of like, did this like production just immediately tank the moment we interacted with him? You're like, oh, poor Koshi. And even she's like, wow, couldn't you have done something better than that? He's like, yeah, I'm sorry. And once again, she's just like, see, everything worked out. I even gave you a trial and see, you're like, you got to act in front of people too, and you got to calm down your nerves. And he's just like, yeah, sure, thanks. He's not buying her BS. He's like, wow, she's really keeping up this tough act. Like this was all planned. Because she refuses to admit when things don't go her way, because it's not like she can completely undo all this, because she's even saying like, right, like I put on such a shocking performance, I'm sure like the people who run this place feel so good that I was quite the person to participate in this. Like they must feel good that like their spider curse thing like really did its job, quote unquote scare me, even though I wasn't scared. But yeah, we find out about Seiya at the end of the episode. Yeah, it's like he didn't show up. I was like, what's going on here? Why didn't he show up? And he proceeds to come in. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. And then we find out he got hit by a dump truck. You're like, Jesus. And he's just like, no, I can put on performance, and then spews out blood. They're like, come on, let's go. He's like, no, I got to do this. It's like, so what are we going to do? Even I love Koshi being like, oh, like, let me put you some underwear on really quickly so you can undo it and so that he doesn't get hit by the vehicle. But then, like, this is like the perfect opportunity in Takane's mind, because it's like, hey, I cannot do that and let things proceed. In fact, it's like, right, someone needs to take Seiya's role as the prince. It's like, but everyone else is booked and busy with their respective roles. She's like, I guess we'll just have to pick a role to cut that won't be significant for the plot. Oh well, Koshi, I guess you're going to be playing the prince. First and foremost, she gets to play out her kind of fantasy with him playing the role of her prince, even though he kind of has played the role of her prince. Once again, I never really thought about the Cinderella parallels until this episode. But there's also the element of I don't think this was part of the plan. I'm pretty sure it wasn't, but she's calling an audible right now where it's like, hey, I can take this to my advantage. Because the whole point was like, she probably figured Koshi wasn't going to take the role of the prince, or rather get it. She wanted him to have the confidence to put himself out there, but she knew he wouldn't get it. But it all worked out in the end, because him being the prince's guard meant he'd be on stage more often around her and be able to fill his role as her closet. Once again, even that still an excuse, even though there's probably some validity of like, yeah, I just want to have my closet nearby to put on my good performance. I also just want you nearby. But now we get to play off of each other. So like, yeah, like I'm going to take this opportunity while I can. So it's going to be interesting to see where the next episode takes us. I'm assuming like the entire episode's mainly going to be dedicated to that performance. It kind of reminds me like, I need to circle back to that series at some point in time, because I don't remember if I think I ended up retroactively finding out there was actually another season or two after, but I think I only ever saw the first season of Nisekoi. The reason I'm referencing that, because like it ends with a play as well. Was it Romeo and Juliet that they did? I don't remember. It's been years since I saw it, but I think I recently came across me like, oh, I didn't realize there was another season or two of the anime. because I read like I read the manga. I think I'd already read like parts of the manga past that point in the story where the anime was. By the time I was watching the anime, and that was like around the time it came out, I think. But anyway, I'm going on my tangent. I do apologize. My whole point was like I think it just made me think about because I think that season ended with a play as well. That's just why that sparked that in my head. But either way. The next episode is a season finale, so like I said, I'm sure the entire episode is going to be dedicated to the play. But I'm so curious to see what happens, what gets undone, how this whole thing operates, especially him playing the role of the closet while being the prince. Once again, that was always going to be an uphill battle in some capacities, of just like obviously it would have been a little easier when you were just the guard, but obviously there's elements to it where you can do it as a prince without drawing in too much attention. That was also kind of the initial point. So how this whole thing plays out, how the whole season wraps up, I'm so excited to see where the finale ends up taking us. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.